Yeah. You know, I mentioned that I really don't like sending emails. Mhm. Send approximately 4,000 of them today? Yes. And your whole thought was we're going to cover this up so that my relatives can use the Joel law? Yes. To take control of my personal life after you have me admitted to a mental facility where you're going to prescribe psychotropic medication because I'm delusional for not understanding exactly what you're doing. Well, I never saw anything with this criminal complaint. Yes. Having information about alleged cyber stalking and a no contact order. Yes. You decided to wait 7 weeks, right, without a hearing before a judge, using citizens' complaints that happen to be employees of the school district or DSHS. Yes. So as to have me arrested for crimes I didn't commit, pooch, so that my relatives could get control of my personal life, yes, so that they could have my inheritance and they could spend all that money for themselves. Now, there is some real problems with this because I would think that the employees of every state of the United States have some sort of reimbursement for education. Pooch. Now, I know. Oh, 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 oh. Did you want to tell me how much money I'm worth? Let's see here. You're an attorney, business travel and expenses, work-related expenses. Could you get me every member of every chamber of commerce everywhere in the nation? Somebody's been paying for this. College professor research expenses. Oh, depreciation of computer equipment used for work. Oh. Now I know you work at home. Yeah. You're a representative in the United States Congress, Gilmer. Oh, and you deduct off your actual expenses for the depreciation of your personal computer. Hmm. Then there's the legal fees that you're required to do to keep your job. Why don't you get me the attorney fees paid by every oath of office everywhere in this nation for the last 40 years that they paid for out of pocket when they were running for office? Yes. Wow, they were in office. Yes. And then after they got out of office because of any of the problems that they caused while in office, all these legal fees. I'm going to sue you. Oh, you have an attorney. You know of the crime. You were educated about crime. In fact, it wasn't that you yourself paid for it after being employed. You were reimbursed or your tuition was paid to have knowledge of crime. Now, I know. Just give me all your personal attorneys. And for all mandatory reporters that think it's not kidnapping, yes, to not protect a father's rights to due process, yes, to not give me the actual dissolution of marriage, pooch, to dissolve a United Nations marriage, yes, and not require actual notice of court hearings. Yes. I'm going to want to know the legal fees that were required while you were employed as a sheriff. Yes, because I'm going to want to know how much you paid your attorney, sheriff. I want to know how much you paid your attorney. Now, it's difficult for me to believe that there's not a police chief in the United States that didn't have a talk with their own attorney about the jurisdiction of enforcing fraud, conspiracy, and grand larceny. Oh, now I'm delusional, is that right? Yeah. Well, I'm going to want those attorney fees that you've been paying to each and every one of your personal attorneys, yes, as mandatory reporters, as superintendent of schools right now. I will sue you for paying an attorney, yes, to consult with you, yes, about whether or not you have to enforce child abduction laws, yes, because your attorney, yes, the attorney client, ooh, you've been advising your clients that happen to be oaths, badges, attorneys, and mandatory reporters that they have no legal